बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम नहमदुहु व नस्तईनुहु व नस्तगफिरुहु व नऊज़ु बिल्लाहि मिन शुरूरि अनफुसिना व मिन सय्यिआति अमालिना मय यहदिहिल्लाहु फला मुदिल्ल लह व मय युद्लिल फला हादिय लह व अशहदु अन ला इलाहा इल्ला वहदहु ला शरीक लह व अशहदु अन्न मुहम्मदन अब्दुहु व रसूलुहु। दोस्तों, आज बड़े टाइम के बाद मैं लाइव आया हूँ अपनी इस चैनल फ़िलॉसफ़ी इन डेप्थ के ऊपर। इससे पहले भी 1 घंटा मैं लाइव आया था, मगर उसमें कुछ इश्यूज़ हो गए थे उस लाइव में, तो उसकी वजह से जो है वो व्यूवरशिप उस लाइव की बड़ी कम हो गई और स्टार्टिंग में ही जो बहुत सारे लोग हैं वो निकल गए। तो यहाँ पर बगैर किसी ताख़िर के मैं लिंक को शेयर कर रहा हूँ आपके साथ, ताकि कोई भी इसको ज्वाइन कर सकता है। ये एक जनरल लाइव सेशन है जिसमें मैं चाहता हूँ कि मैं अपने जितने भी हमारे ऑडियंस हैं, हमारे नाजरीन हैं, उनके साथ मैं इंटरेक्शन करूँ। तो यहाँ लिंक मैंने शेयर कर दिया है, तो इसको मैं पिन भी कर देता हूँ यूट्यूब के ऊपर जाकर, ताकि हर किसी को आसानी से ये हमारा लिंक जो है ये मिल जाए। और तब तक मैं आपसे गुजारिश करता हूँ कि आप इस लाइव को जो है वो लाइक कीजिए और इसको जो हो सके तो इसको शेयर भी कर दीजिए अपने सोशल मीडिया प्लेटफॉर्म्स के ऊपर, ताकि ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोगों तक ये लाइव पहुँचे। और उससे एक और फ़ायदा क्या होता है कि जो यूट्यूब है उसका एल्गोरिदम जो है वो फीड्स में भेजता है वीडियो को, यानी कि ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोगों को वीडियो दिखाता है। तो चलिए, मैंने यहाँ पर लिंक को पिन भी कर दिया है और किसी भाई या बहन ने जो है हमारे लाइव को लाइक भी कर दिया है, तो माशाल्लाह। तो उम्मीद करता हूँ कि आप हजरात जो है आज हमारे साथ ज्वाइन करेंगे इसको, क्योंकि इससे पहले भी 1 डेढ़ घंटे में था, मगर उसमें मैंने आपको पहले ही कहा कि टेक्निकल इशू हुआ और बहुत ही कम रेस्पॉन्स मिला उस लाइव में। तो अब मैंने जनरल लाइव ही यहाँ पर रखा है। तो आपको पता ही है कि इस चैनल के ऊपर हम जो वीडियोस बनाते हैं वो फ़िलोसॉफ़िकल सवालों के रिलेटेड होते हैं। कभी कभी हम साइंटिफिक कुछ टॉपिक्स भी एड्रेस करते हैं। इसी तरह से हम थियोलॉजिकल डिस्कशंस भी यहाँ पर एड्रेस करते हैं इस चैनल के ऊपर। और वक्तन फ़वक्तन हमारी जो कम्युनिटी पोस्ट्स है वो भी इस चैनल पे आते रहते हैं। तो ये हमारा लाइव आज इंटरेक्टिव सेशन है, तो उम्मीद करता हूँ कि आप इसको ज्वाइन करेंगे। फ़िलहाल लिंक मैंने जो है वो शेयर कर दिया है और हमारा एक डिस्कॉर्ड सर्वर भी है, उसका भी लिंक मैं यहाँ पर आपके साथ शेयर कर रहा हूँ, ताकि आप जो है हमें डिस्कॉर्ड पे भी फॉलो कर सके। अगर आप डिस्कॉर्ड चला रहे हैं तो यहाँ मैंने जो है उसका लिंक भी जो है आपके साथ शेयर कर दिया है डिस्कॉर्ड का। तो डिस्कॉर्ड पे भी इंशाल्लाह रहमान आप हमें जो है वो ज्वाइन कर सकते हैं। तो आज कोई स्पेसिफिक टॉपिक नहीं है मेरे पास, हालांकि मैंने सोचा था कि मैं एक किताब जो है वो आपके सामने इंशाल्लाह उसको रीड करूँगा। बड़ी ज़बरदस्त किताब है, तो उसको मैं इंशाल्लाह अब कल या परसों करूँगा। आज मेरा मूड था थोड़ा इंटरेक्शन करने का, क्योंकि बहुत टाइम से मैं लाइव भी नहीं आया और अब हमारी ज़्यादातर वीडियोस भी नहीं आते। अब ज़्यादातर कम्युनिटी पोस्ट पे ही हमारी इंटरेक्शन होती है। तो मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूँगा जितने भी हमारे दोस्त इस टाइम जुड़े हैं वो हमारे साथ आके स्ट्रीम यार्ड में जुड़े और हमारे साथ इस लाइव को जो है वो ज्वाइन करे। क्योंकि ये तो कहने को हमारे बहुत सारे सब्सक्राइबर है, 630 सब्सक्राइबर है, मगर किसी काम के नहीं है, बस नाम के है। और बड़ी देर भी हो गई है और मैं कंप्लेन भी नहीं करूँगा इस टाइम, क्योंकि अभी 1 2 घंटा पहले शायद मैं कंप्लेन भी करता और मैंने की भी। और इस टाइम एक ऐसा टाइम है कि मैं अब कंप्लेन भी नहीं कर सकता और कोई आएगा भी नहीं, कि देर भी बहुत हो गई है। तो यहाँ जो है आपसे रिक्वेस्ट यही है कि आप इस लाइव स्ट्रीम को लाइक करें और इसको शेयर करें, ताकि ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा जो लोग हैं वो हमारे साथ जुड़ सके। और इंशाल्लाह जो जनरल ये लाइव Q&A है, तो आप किसी भी टॉपिक पे जो है वो इंशाल्लाह सवाल कर सकते हैं या कोई डिस्कशन जो है वो कर सकते हैं। तो लिंक भी आपके सामने पिन्ड है, वहाँ पर क्लिक करके जो है आप हमारे साथ स्ट्रीम यार्ड पे जुड़ जाइए। आइए आइए, इससे पहले कि नींद आ जाए। अगर आप पहली बार भी हमारी चैनल पे आए हैं तो ज़रूर हमें कमेंट कीजिए। अगर आप ऑलरेडी हमारी चैनल से वाकिफ़ है तो फिर भी कमेंट कीजिए, क्योंकि हमें भी पता चले कि कैसा रिस्पॉन्स है, क्या जो लोग हैं वो हमारी चैनल के बारे में सोचते हैं। और यहाँ पर मैं ज़्यादा खामोश भी नहीं बैठ सकता, क्योंकि अगर मैं ज़्यादा खामोश बैठूंगा तो लोगों को लगे मैं सो गया और सब भाग जाएंगे, क्योंकि विजुअल्स भी तो नहीं चल रहे हैं ऑन स्क्रीन। तो इसलिए यहाँ इंसान मुंह भी बंद नहीं रखता जब इस तरह से लाइव कोई आता है। तो बड़ा परेशानी होती है जब कोई ज्वाइन नहीं करता है इस तरह से, आपको कंटिन्यू बोलना पड़ता है। तो ये बड़ा परेशानी है। जब तक मैं आपको लोगो दिखाता हूँ चैनल का, पिछला वाला हमारा लोगो क्या था इसी को मैं प्ले करता हूँ। ये मैंने खुद क्रिएट किया था ये लोगो इस चैनल के लिए। उम्मीद है आपको पसंद आया होगा। फिर से एक बार दिखाता हूँ। तो अभी फ़िलहाल हमारे साथ कोई नहीं है, पर इंशाल्लाह उम्मीद पे दुनिया कायम है। उम्मीद हमें है हमें भी लोग ज्वाइन करेंगे, हमारे इस शो को भी लोग ज्वाइन करेंगे। आवाज़ देख लेते हैं कैसी आ रही है एक बार। जी आवाज़ भी मुझे लग रहा है सही आ रही है। आइए जनाब आइए, स्ट्रीम में आइए। आना मुफ्त है, कोई पैसा नहीं लगता आने का। आइए भाई आइए, ज्वाइन कीजिए इससे पहले कि नींद आ जाए। 8 मिनट से ऊपर हो चुके हैं। कुछ दोस्तों ने हमें ज्वाइन किया, कुछ ने लाइक भी किया, उनका बड़ा बड़ा शुक्रिया। और जितने भी दोस्त हमें ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं उनसे यही दरख्वास्त है कि लाइक कीजिए, ताकि यूट्यूब इस लाइव स्ट्रीम को आगे ले जाए। और ये आए हैं हमारे फ़रदीन भाई।
अस्सलाम वालेकुम भाई।
वालेकुम अस्सलाम। पहले भी आए थे, मगर मुझे बड़ा अफसोस है कि उस टाइम पे मेरी माइक जो थी वो म्यूट रह गई थी, और 15 मिनट बाद मुझे पता चला कि मैं म्यूट हूँ।
Oh, yeah, I thought maybe you are, offline or you're far from your computer. That's why I left at that time.
जी जी, बड़ी गलती हो गई, उससे बड़ा भारी नुकसान हो गया। क्योंकि बहुत सारे व्यूवर हमें देख रहे थे, कम से कम व्यूवरशिप मुझे लगता है 100-150 चली गई थी आज।
Yes, and I've seen that today there was
नहीं,
a
मैं
lot
मजाक कर
less
रहा हूँ।
people watching.
आपको लगता है मेरी चैनल की व्यूवरशिप 150 हो जाएगी? मैं देख रहा था, आप क्या कहोगे।
No, no, no. Yeah, I saw the, stream's name today. So I think I was like, okay, maybe I would get some atheists to talk to. That's why I came.
जी जी, मैंने
Yeah.
भी मुझे लगता है गलती ही की वैसे एक स्पेसिफिक टॉपिक पे रख के, क्योंकि मुझे लगता है अभी मुझे जनरल स्ट्रीम से करनी चाहिए, क्योंकि मेरे अभी फैमिलियर नहीं है लोग मेरी चैनल से। तो
Yeah, that is a good thing because I've seen many people, in many other different countries, especially when they focus on English language, they keep the stream general. Though they specify it to some extent, but generally the stream is this topic is very general, so you can basically talk with anything pretty much. Yeah.
जी जी, असल में बहुत सारे दोस्तों को लगा कि हमारी जो स्ट्रीम है वो स्पेसिफिक टॉपिक पे है, तो उनने भी शायद ज्वाइन नहीं किया। और बहुत सारे, पता नहीं आज बड़ा रेस्पॉन्स कम आ रहा है मेरे लाइव वगैरह पे, पता नहीं व्हाट कुड
You
बी
have
द
to be
रीज़न।
active, brother. Man, I think you should do live, every week or so, twice in a week or maybe thrice. That's how you'll actually get viewership.
जी मुझे भी लगता है मैं कुछ लाइव, कुछ किताब एक दो पढ़ाऊंगा लाइव अब। ताकि,
Yeah.
क्योंकि मैं भी कितना बोलूँगा, यहाँ पर बहुत बोलना पड़ता है।
Mm. Yeah, you should cover some of the basic books of Shaykhul Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, like Wasitiyah, Tadmuri, Hamawiya, and condense down the contents of those books.
जी जी, इंशाल्लाह। अच्छा, और सुनाइए फरदीन भाई, आपका फिर क्या हुआ? आप परसों जो हमने डिस्कशन हुआ था, वो आपको उसमें क्या लगा उस डिस्कशन में?
I mean, right now at this point, I haven't actually. I have thought about that stuff, and I think okay, there might be a possibility that you can still have omnipotence and omniscience and still have free what should I say choice to some degrees. But yeah, obviously we are not absolutely free. That's the thing. So I
परसों
guess we
मैं
can
फिर से
have a
उसमें
coherency between this.
और भी थोड़ी मैंने उसमें और स्टडी की परसों,
Mhm.
उसमें उस टॉपिक पे।
Brother, your voice is quite low. I mean, the sound coming from your mic is quite low.
जी एक सेकंड, मैं इसको ठीक करता हूँ, अब ठीक है?
Yeah, now quite good. Yeah.
तो परसों मैंने उस पे थोड़ा बहुत और जो है वो तहकीक की थी उस सवाल पे जो आपने किया था।
Mhm.
तो उसमें एक बहुत अहम पॉइंट जो है वो ये है कि वेनेवर, जब भी हम करते हैं ना बात,
Mhm.
जैसे हम किसी मखलूक की बात करते हैं, किसी भी क्रिएशन की, तो
Yeah.
जो क्रिएशन है ना, तो हम मानते हैं ना कि क्रिएशन एग्जिस्ट करती है, क्रिएशन इज आउट
Mhm.
देयर।
Obviously, yeah.
तो जिस तरह से क्रिएशन का एक एसेंस हम मानते हैं ना कि क्रिएशन का एक एसेंस है, एक वजूद है उसका, उसका एक अपना एसेंस है, तो उसी तरह से
By the
हम।
way, you are a nominalist, right?
नहीं, मैं इसमें कोई पोजीशन नहीं रखता, और ना मुझे लगता है कोई पोजीशन इसमें मुझे रखनी ज़रूरी है।
Okay, but what do you think Ibn Taymiyyah was? I mean, I was like thinking like he was quite leaning towards nominalism, or am I wrong?
ही इज कंसेप्चुअलिस्ट,
Okay.
बिकॉज
I mean,
नॉमिनलिस्ट्स डिनाई
is there
universals in
even?
mind.
I mean, they also deny the universals in mind also.
No, Ibn doesn't deny the universals in mind. He believes
Oh,
that universals exist only in mind.
oh, money, like an idea, like you have an idea of something, and there's something, that idea of something like exists in our mind. He believes in conceptions like that, right?
जी जी, वो कहते हैं कि जो भी चीज़ें एक्सटर्नल रियलिटी में पाई जाती है वो हमेशा पर्टिकुलर होती है, और जो
Hmm.
जनरल कंसेप्ट्स होते हैं वो खाली कंसेप्ट एज एन कंसेप्ट एग्जिस्ट करते हैं, वो एक्सटर्नल रियलिटी में नहीं पाई जाती। एक्सटर्नल रियलिटी में जब भी कोई चीज़ पाई जाएगी तो इट विल बी एन पर्टिकुलर, एन इंडिविजुअल पर्टिकुलर।
Okay, okay, yeah.
फॉर एग्जांपल,
I mean,
यूनिवर्सल ऑफ ह्यूमन
mhm.
इज इन माइंड, but every human being is individuated, particular. Every human being is distinct from one another.
Yeah, yeah. But what about, let's say there is a tree, and then you cut down the tree and you make a chair out of it, an wooden chair.
Hmm.
Would he agree that the tree and the chair shares in essence?
एक्चुअली जो डिस्कशन है ना एसेंस और इसका, क्या बोलते हैं इसको, एग्जिस्टेंस का,
Yeah, yeah.
असल में अगर आप देखेंगे ना, जो उनसे पहले जो फिलोसफर्स थे, वो ये कहते थे कि जो एग्जिस्टेंस है इट इज़ इट मतलब एसेंस जो है वो प्रीसीड करता है एग्जिस्टेंस को, मतलब पहले
Hmm.
एसेंस होता है उसके बाद एग्जिस्टेंस होती है।
Yeah, yeah.
मतलब वो कहते थे एसेंस जो है वो किसी और रियलम में है, और उसके बाद जब ये एग्जिस्टेंस में आता है तो इन माइंड ये एज ए यूनिवर्सल आता है, और इन एक्सटर्नल वर्ल्ड इट कम्स एज फॉर्म एंड मैटर।
Yeah.
मगर इब्न तैमिया जो है वो कहते हैं कि पहले तो वो डिनाई करते हैं इसको, वो कहते हैं या तो कोई चीज़ एक्सटर्नल रियलिटी में होगी या तो कोई चीज़ जहन में होगी, वो बस इन्हीं दो चीज़ों को मानते हैं, इन्हीं दो एग्जिस्टेंस को मानते हैं। वो
Hmm.
कहते हैं ये जो इनने एसेंस बनाया है विदाउट एनी एट्रीब्यूट, ये गलत है, क्योंकि ऐसा कोई एसेंस नहीं होगा जिसका कोई एट्रीब्यूट ना हो, क्योंकि एट्रीब्यूट के बगैर हम किसी एसेंस को पहचान ही नहीं सकते। मतलब वो कहते हैं एसेंस होगा और वो विदाउट एनी एट्रीब्यूट होगा कहीं ना कहीं, मतलब उसका कोई एट्रीब्यूट नहीं होगा, एसेंस कोई अलग सी चीज़ है। तो इब्न तैमिया तो पहले ही इम्पॉसिबिलिटी, जैसे अगर आप इब्न उसैमिन की किताबें भी पढ़ेंगे, शेख साले इब्न उसैमिन रहमतुल्लाह अलैह की, वो भी इसी को एडवोकेट करते हैं कि खारिज में ऐसा कोई वजूद नहीं जिसकी जिसकी कोई सिफत ना हो,
Yeah.
क्योंकि वो
But
मानते
then,
हैं ना, क्योंकि
some people then ask, what about the mathematical numbers, like, 1, 2, 3, 4? Does those abstract things have an existence out there, or do they only exist in the mind? Or how do you even know? Like now, then some mathematicians say that's then a big problem, because we actually work with this mathematics when doing science. The three natural science, physics, chemistry, and biology, they are all, what should I say, squished up with mathematics. You cannot actually do those science without mathematics. So, how would you, reconcile between these two things? How would he, even Taimiya, reconcile between these things?
मतलब मैं समझा नहीं आपका सवाल, आप रिपीट कीजिए।
I'm talking about the existence of mathematical, numbers, abstract things.
हम्म।
So, I was asking the question that how would Ibn Taymiyyah actually, what would be his belief regarding these numbers? Do these numbers exist outside the world, or do they only exist in the mind?
Regarding
Or
mathematics, I have
yeah, yeah.
read his book Refutation of Logicians, in which he has write that mathematics exists in mind. It's maqadir fi zihniyat. These are quantities in mind.
Mhm.
These are quantities in mind. Maqadir fi az-zihniyat.
But I was actually thinking about that, but then I actually thought that actually it contradicts his ideas, because he thinks that in regarding to the forms, the essential forms, he
Mm-hmm.
thinks that the form doesn't have any correlation with the world, meaning it doesn't correspond to the world. It only exists in our mind. It doesn't have any effect on the world. But the mathematical objects that we have in our mind, they are used. They are actually used in scientific experiments and observations. So how do you actually reconcile between those things? His belief that the forms doesn't actually correspond to the reality, and his belief that the mathematics which does correspond to the reality.
No, actually, I don't have read any such thing from him, so I can't comment on this. I don't know whether where you have read this stuff of him. But
Now
as far
I
as
haven't read anything from him, this stuff, but I'm just asking a question. I'm trying to know what is his position
no,
regarding
no, I
these
had
things.
only read in Refutation of Logicians that mathematics exists in mind,
Hmm.
and metaphysics talk about general things, not about particulars. That's why he rejects metaphysics. Not all metaphysics, but he rejects many things of metaphysics, because he says that mathematics gives you sorry metaphysics gives you knowledge about general things, not particular things, and what exists out there in reality are particular, not general things. And second, about mathematics, he says that mathematics is the quantities in mind. It's maqadar fi az-zihniyat. Now, when we look at the external reality, we, the function of mind, he writes in his book that the function of mind is to, make universals from particulars. It's one of the function of mind to make, to examine various particulars and make a universal out of it. And also, he said that the mind, do there are actually other two functions which I don't remember very accurately here, so I don't want to misquote him. But we don't need to know everything what he believes about the world, because it doesn't matter. Because for us, he's a very great scholar. There is no doubt about it. But he's not infallible, or we treat him as like an
Yeah,
imam. Like,
obviously.
he's our imam. He's Imam Ahl Sunnat. But we don't you know follow him in that way in which the muqallids follow their imams.
Hmm.
We don't need to believe everything he said. Neither we need to know what he believes about everything.
Okay, I think we are actually going off the topic. Let's stick to atheism for now, because today's topic was atheism, right?
Actually, I had decided to discuss about atheism, but unfortunately, the response was very low, so I make it a general stream now.
Okay, why not talk now? But like, do you have do you have any? problem talking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
this
No, no,
right
I
now?
don't have any problem. You can talk. There is no one.
Okay, okay, okay. No, there is no problem. This video can exist right there. Anyone can view it, right?
Okay,
Anyone
कोई
can view it
कोई
later on.
बात नहीं. जी जी कोई
It may
बात नहीं.
help. Yeah. So I was actually, thinking about the definitions both of atheism and of theism, right?
Mhm.
So when you see naturally atheists, argue in different YouTube channels, they actually say that they don't need justification for their position. What do you think about this? This is a question.
Sorry, repeat it. They.
Uh, eight When talking about atheism and theism, we
Mhm.
see in YouTube, in different YouTube videos, we see atheist says that they
Mhm.
don't need justification for their position. That they are atheist, meaning that they reject God, reject the existence of God, that they don't need justification for their position. So what do you think about this, about their assertion, this assertion?
Actually, first of all, I think we should make clear what atheism is. You know what how
Yeah, yeah.
academics define atheism.
Mhm.
So the way academics define atheism is that it's a lack of belief in deity or deities. Now,
Yeah.
also academics say us that atheism is not an affirmative position. For example, if any atheist says you that God doesn't exist, it doesn't fit into atheism definition
Mhm.
because according to academic definition of atheism, it's lack of belief. For example, how I will demonstrate it by an example is that imagine a person is sitting in his room and he is saying that I don't believe in gods, I don't believe in religions. That's it. That's an atheist
Mhm.
according to academic definition. But
Mhm.
now sometimes some people understood it as a rejection of belief in gods.
Yeah.
Now when you reject the belief in gods, but at the same time they are saying that we are not denying the existence of God itself.
Mhm.
They say that this is not the you know this doesn't this is not what I say ये atheism का काम नहीं है. This is not the
Mhm.
job of atheism to go into these topics whether God exists or not. This is simply we are not convinced, we lack the belief in deity or deities, and this is our position. And at the same time we are not making any affirmative claim that God doesn't exist. This is pure atheism. Now people like Richard Dawkins, they are not atheist. He is himself accepted that he is not a atheist. He's a very complicated, there's a third category now made by these people. They say it that this is agnostic atheism, in which you are lacking belief in God, and at the same time you are not denying the existence of God. I mean, he's actually rejecting. Actually, these terms are very confusing because when you read about atheism itself, they will say you that it's not a belief system, it's not a religion, it's not denial of gods. Rather, it's a position of
Uh,
not believing in
brother,
gods.
I'm sorry to sorry to stop you, but I think that's the definition that you gave right now. I think that's the very definition of agnosticism. I don't think that's the definition of atheism.
No, no, this is
Agnostic,
actually no, no. This is the definition of atheism according to them. This is actually the definition of atheism according to
uh,
academics, not me.
but by the
But
way, do you know a atheist professor? He's a big professor. His name is Graham Oakley. Do you know him?
uh-huh.
He actually no, he doesn't say that. The definition that you gave, he doesn't say that. He has a book, Atheist and Atheism, which
Mm-hmm.
is published by Cambridge University.
Mm-hmm.
In there, he gives the definition of atheism, which goes
Mm-hmm.
by, he says atheist claims that God and gods doesn't exist. He said
Mm-hmm.
that in
Mm-hmm.
his book. He makes it very clear.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the quotation right now, but I have read that book.
Mm-hmm.
I can give you that book's link. But and
Acha, acha.
he's considered to be a great atheist philosopher. Yeah, and which he also clarifies that sometimes people actually mixes up the definition of atheism and agnosticism. Yeah.
Can you see it?
Yeah, yeah. I can see it. I can see it. I can see it. Atheism is a part. Source.
And these are the sources: reliable dictionary, Wikipedia. This is 5 sources you can see, and
Yeah.
this is Perplexity AI is showing this.
Mhm.
I'm not making this up.
But then, brother, we should actually then what should I say, inquire in about the meaning of the belief in that, absence of belief in God and gods. We should actually see what does they mean by belief, because if you actually see the definition of belief, it gets actually ambiguous, because belief can, because in any information that you hold, you actually have to believe it, let it be true or let it be false. It doesn't have to be. So even when you have justification, you still have to believe that, you still have to hold that, even in the presence of justification. But you can still have belief without justification, without any justification. So now it gets ambiguous. If in that definition they say atheism means disbelief, sorry, lack of beliefs in gods or God, then it can actually mean that now if taking belief by justification, then they are basically claiming that they have justification for their disbelief in God. Now that becomes an assertion, though a negative one, that God or gods doesn't exist. But if they say, for the sake of argument, that no, we are saying just because we don't have any knowledge, that's why we're rejecting that or rejecting or disbelieving that in God or gods. Now that's an argument from ignorance. Or they can say that we don't basically know because we don't have any evidence in our hand. We'll stay silent on this matter. We'll neither affirm nor negate. We'll stay neutral on this position. Then they are agnostic. So the
No,
definition
no,
of
actually,
belief in here
actually,
has
the
to be taken
academic,
very seriously.
actually, how academics define agnosticism is that it is unknowable to know about divine. This is agnosticism actually, because वो कहते हैं कि
I
हम जान ही नहीं सकते कि
I think that's skepticism, as far as I know.
whatever you say it doesn't matter. But I want to stick to the academic definition. I will not stick to what my next door neighbor atheist believes,
Hmm.
because his belief doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
Because I had shown you that atheism is lack of belief in the existence of deities, and it's not an affirmative belief according to them. Now there can be contradictions in it, because you have said
Hmm.
that Graham Affey doesn't agree with it.
Yeah.
So the first major problem is that they don't have an agreed upon definition of atheism, first of all,
Hmm.
because they are saying that it's a total neutral position. Simply, atheist is saying that there is no God or gods. Okay, I'm lacking the belief in them. I'm
But
not
when
denying,
he
I'm not
asserts,
making any ontological, it's not an ontological position, because they are, the way here atheism is defined in this,
hmm,
which 5 sources this website has quoted. It is
yeah,
saying that it's a lack of belief in God and it's not an affirmative position. So it's not making any claim about ontology, what exists out there. It's only saying that I don't have belief.
hmm,
Now there could be problems in this. For example, someone can say, how can I now distinguish between agnosticism and atheism in this definition? Because an agnostic is saying, I will show you what agnosticism is according to this. I will also show you this. This is agnosticism. Agnosticism is the view or belief that existence of God is unknowable, is unknown or unknowable. It is the position that one cannot know for certain whether God or any deities exist, because it's an epistemological position. Agnosticism is epistemological position. Atheism is not an epistemological position. Atheists simply
okay.
lack the belief in God or gods. But if an atheist is making an affirmative claim, then he has to provide evidence. Because, for example, a person is coming and he is denying the existence of God. Now he has to give evidence for it because he is making an claim. But to save himself from the burden of proof, he can say, "No, I don't have belief in any deity, but I will not, either I don't deny the existence of deities. I don't, you know, he don't deny. He don't make epistemological claims like agnostics, because agnostic is saying you cannot know The God is unknown. You cannot, neither you can disprove him, neither you can prove him.
But brother, don't you think that negative claims are also to be justified? You still need justification for negative claims. Don't you think that?
But they are saying we are not making a negative claim, atheists. They are
No,
saying,
they are, because when they say, look,
mm-hmm,
that's why there is a problem when they say that they have a lack of belief in God or gods,
mm-hmm,
because then because the lack actually can be, it can be cited for this time moment, right? We can actually concentrate on what they mean by belief.
mm-hmm,
Is belief in this context means that they are just blindly believing that thing? They're blindly
mm-hmm,
believing in they're blindly disbelieving in the existence of God. Yeah, I know they are not asserting that there is no God. They are just saying
mm-hmm,
that we don't believe in God, right? Now,
mm-hmm.
is that belief justified or unjustified? That is the question. If that belief
No.
is unjustified, meaning based on no justification,
Mm-hmm,
then obviously they're blind followers. You know? They are equally
mm-hmm,
sinful in a metaphorical sense, sinful, like the way they accuse of the theist, that the theist doesn't have any justification for his belief. I think there is the agnosticism that is showed right
mm-hmm,
here in this definition. I've seen actually, maybe I cannot recall right now. I've seen maybe other definitions of agnosticism. They define agnosticism by
mm-hmm,
saying that no, we are neutral on this position. We just don't
mm-hmm,
know that you
mm-hmm,
know that God exists or God doesn't exist. We're still looking for proofs, and the proofs that are given by the theist are not sufficient as per the claims of the agnostic. And they say that
mm-hmm.
we're still on our way to the proof. And then the proof will determine whether God exists or God doesn't exist.
But why are you defining, who is an agnostic or who is an atheist according to your understanding? Why are you not
The-
following the academic definitions?
No,
I
no,
mean,
I am following the academic definition, but you just cited some of the academic definition. There are,
but for
according,
example, here the key points, if you can read here, the second key point is that
okay,
agnosticism is distinct from both theism and atheism.
okay. Let me tell you at first my intention, why I'm making this distinction. Because you see, when you're talking to the atheist, he
Mm-hmm,
assumes his position is basic, which is obviously not. He assumes that people
mm-hmm,
are naturally inclined to
mm-hmm.
somehow disbelieving in God. No, that is not the case.
No, I'm
Then
not
he
making that point.
No, no,
Your
I'm
point
not
that
saying
you're
I'm not
taking that.
saying that you are making that
Mm-hmm.
claim. I'm saying the atheists are making that claims. When you're talking with them, the atheists are making
Yeah,
that
yeah,
claim.
they are, various atheists
Yeah,
make this claim.
yeah. So I'm just basically saying that no, neither theism nor atheism. Let's say from an evidential perspective that no, it is possible to prove God. From that perspective, neither atheism nor theism is actually basic. Whoever makes claim that there is no God has to prove likewise. Whoever makes claim that there is God, both has to prove that there is both has to prove for the position, right?
But according to the academic definition of atheism, yeah, they are not denying the existence of God. If you read it carefully here again,
Yeah,
let me
I
show you.
know they are not denying the existence of God. That's why I said, what does belief means in that definition? Because the definition is lack of belief in God. Is that belief based upon a justification
It's
or
not
not?
belief. It's a lack of belief. It's not belief.
Exactly, brother. When you hold that position, you
Mm-hmm.
disbelieve in God, you're
Mm-hmm.
actually detaching yourself from the
Mm-hmm.
existence of God, right? And in that scenario, you're having a position towards that
Mm-hmm.
view. You still believe upon something. It still have some informational content in that belief, right? So you cannot just say it is not belief. You have to believe. If you
Uh-huh.
if you actually claim that something
Mm-hmm.
is informational inside you, that's obviously a
Mm-hmm.
belief. You hold that thing, that's actually a belief. So it's actually a belief in this scenario. There is no such thing, Let's say, for the sake of argument, do you believe in unicorns?
No, I don't believe.
Exactly. You don't believe in an unicorn. That's your position.
Mm-hmm.
You still believe that there you don't believe in unicorn.
Mm-hmm.
So when atheists say they lack there's a lack of belief in
Mm-hmm.
God or gods, they
Mm-hmm.
actually believe that this position that they are having a lacking of they're having a lack of belief in God or gods. So now it's very important to actually distinguish what they mean by belief. Is that
तो
belief
देखिए
backed up by justification or not?
according to their definition of atheism,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
lack the belief in the existence of God or gods, but they don't claim that God doesn't exist. This is actually what they are here saying if you read what I have highlighted.
Okay, let's oversee this issue. So now let's say, let's actually take the academic definition. Let's say that they're right in the definition. They just doesn't claim that God exists or doesn't exist. They just they have a lack of belief toward gods and gods, right? Okay.
Because
So
they are
now if
not
an eight,
making a positive assertion here that God doesn't exist.
yeah,
Because
yeah, okay, okay, fine. I
the people we
mm,
see on internet are not atheists in that sense in which atheism is defined academically. They
mm,
are agnostic atheists like Richard Dawkins.
yeah.
According to because I will show you what agnostic atheism is. Here it is mentioned. This is atheistic agnosticism. They fall under this category. Lack of belief in a deity with the admission that its non-existence cannot be proven. But it is still, some atheists will not even fit into this definition because some deny God.
Mm.
So they are actually not, you know, if we, discuss these definitions, I think we will only confuse ourselves now
Okay,
because
let's
these
assume
definitions
the
will only make
definition of
us.
that. Okay, let's assume the academic definition. Okay. So now, let's say for the sake of argument, if an atheist comes to you and
Mhm,
says, "What are the evidences for God?" Then what
mhm.
would you do? What would be your position at that time?
My position will be to discuss the epistemological foundations of Islam. What are the epistemological foundations of Islam?
Mm,
I mean, first of all, the prophets address the fitrah. So I will first of all discuss the fitrah with him and how prophets address the fitrah. Because I have to discuss Islam according to Islamic epistemological foundation. I can't discuss it like Ibn Sina, that there is necessary and possible existences. Now you have to deduce a necessary existence. This is not the way of the prophets and not the way of the pious predecessors.
So you will not. Will you give any arguments for the existence of God, or will you not?
I will discuss epistemological foundations. I mean, what is the role of reason? What is the role of revelation? What is the role of fitrah? I will discuss all these things. I will not be, come on, let us do philosophy, let us make a deductive argument, let us deduce a general necessary existence from it. Because he will say, okay, necessary existence is there, but it's not your God. Okay, then what?
But as some, people of Kalam, the Ilmul Kalam, they claim that
Mm-hmm.
just the atheist may reply that you are just begging the question. I can say the same thing. Atheism is the foundational viewpoint. Yes, there are some foundational beliefs. One can
No,
believe that.
I believe that foundation is fitrah, and fitrah, there is constitution, natural constitution of human beings to believe in God. That's my epistemological belief. That's my belief. I can't deny it.
No, I have heard some people of Kalam, the Kalami people,
Mm-hmm.
they say that
Mm-hmm.
that's just begging the question. The
Mm-hmm.
atheist just may simply deny that.
Mm-hmm.
And he says he can say the contrary of it, that this belief in
Mm-hmm.
God is my foundational point of view, or is my belief. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So at that time, as per the Kalam, I also take your view that it's
Mm-hmm.
foundation.
Mm-hmm.
The Kalam people says, and I've seen that okay, they are right to some degrees. That they say that at
Mm-hmm.
that time when the atheist says this kind of argument, you have to give him some sort of rational, arguments or
Mm-hmm.
deductive arguments for the belief in God. What would you say then?
Can you see it, what I have typed here?
Yeah, based on okay, it's not a simple yes or no answer. Okay.
No, I can, however, the sources also challenge the idea that humans are born believers. A study by Michael Farrell found no evidence about the intuitive belief hypothesis. There are also, some people also oppose it.
I mean, yeah, I have also seen arguments that argue against it. They say it's just a part of our evolutionary mutation because we actually hold this belief for such a long time that it's actually part of our system. Now it doesn't. The system, the mutation doesn't really know that it's true or not. It just knows that we hold this belief, and in some cases, this belief comes to help, comes for our help.
There are
So
both parties. One party
yeah, yeah,
says no, this is intuitive. Other this is no, this is not intuitive.
yeah, yeah. So
Direct evidence
would
is
you?
not there. As far as scientific evidence is there is no direct evidence that humans are biologically hardwired for
Mm,
religion according to science, but not according to me
yeah, yeah.
as a Muslim.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there are some Kalam peoples, Ilmul Kalam. They
Mm-hmm,
say that it becomes necessary at some point to give arguments for the existence
mm-hmm,
of God. Because you will have obviously people, yeah,
mm-hmm,
they might still agree that, you have your
mm-hmm,
fitra, but they
mm-hmm.
still might want to have some rational arguments for the existence of God. And then on the other case, you will obviously have atheists who will obviously not accept this kind
I'm
of
not
argument.
against I'm not against rational arguments because it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
the the मतलब उन्होंने ठेका नहीं रखा है rational arguments का कलाम वालों ने. It's not their monopoly to give rational arguments. We also give rational arguments, but we also state to a person what is the role of reason in Islam, because we have to first of all discuss that what are the limitations of reason and what is the role of reason. For example, here I will share you, and I hope that this will open on this. Actually, give me a second. I will show you something on your screen. Window. I will actually share this window. I hope that you will be able to see it. Are you seeing it?
Yeah, yeah, I'm saying.
The human nature, fitra, reason, and revelation. Now we will leave the fitra. We will move back to reason first of all. Look, this is the reason. What we believe about reason. This is our manhaj about reason. So what is the role of reason? The reason is prerequisite to the acquisition of knowledge as well as for the performance of a good deed or righteous act. And we believe that mystical states like ecstasy or intoxication, in which one suppresses its reason, or imperfect states of mind. And ideas that conflict with reason are false. However, reason is not self-sufficient. This is generally I'm telling you what the position of Sheikh al-Islam is about reason. Reason is not self-sufficient. It cannot dispense with revelation, which alone gives the knowledge of realities that transcend it. Revelation sometimes transcends the reason. It doesn't go in opposition to reason. According to Ibn Taymiyyah, there is no such argument in reason which goes against the revelation, but there are some things in the revelation that transcend. For example, you cannot know that there is a throne. You cannot know that there is an arsh if revelation don't tell you. You cannot know that there are messengers if the revelation don't told you that, because reason cannot know everything in and of itself.
The atheist, the atheist might obviously agree with you at some points that, yeah, reason can get you
Read
everywhere.
this. Read this. Left to itself. Left to itself.
Definitely.
Left to itself. Reason cannot know things which is not equipped to know by itself. On the other hand, when it is completely suppressed, the ideas that one receives and the acts that one performs may be things that just happens to animals. So he is balanced position. Ibn Taymiyyah is very balanced here. He's not denying reason, and he's not putting reason beyond its capabilities.
But I was talking about arguing with the atheist. I, as a
Yes, we are
Muslim, can
we are
agree with
giving
you.
him the epistemological foundations, because
But
atheist is also a human being. We have to also, because we have to clear our epistemological foundation to him. How can
uh,
we
but I have
not
actually
clear our
rather seen
epistemological?
seen these kinds of arguments were actually used with the atheists, or or asserted in front of the atheists. But this actually, this kind of arguments actually fades because the atheists may say, okay, I can also have my own foundation. I can also, what should I say, they can also,
No,
uh,
these actually don't fail, because if you look at from other perspective. For example, if you question to an atheist that what is the foundation of knowledge, I mean, do you believe that you need philosophical justification for the attainment of knowledge or not? This is the first question you have to ask him. If he says yes, we need philosophical justification for the attainment of knowledge, then you have to say, give me evidence from philosophy that
No,
how
no,
you
that's a
justify the
different
foundation of
thing.
knowledge.
That's a
No,
different
that's
thing
not a
that you
different thing.
need or
That's
you
part of the
don't need.
discussion.
No, no.
Fardin
If
Bhai,
you
we have to
say
look at
that,
the whole picture. We can't look at only one pixel.
I I agree with you, but the problem is that this kind of analogy doesn't actually hold in here because, let's say for the sake of
I'm
argument,
not
that
giving
an
an
atheist can,
analogy. I'm telling you the full story. I'm not making any analogy here. I'm telling you that
okay,
if an atheist comes to you and he says you that I'm lacking the belief in God.
yeah,
Now I want to discuss about Islam. So first of all, you will tell him what are your epistemological foundations, why you lack belief in God. So he will tell you that I need some epistemological justification for the existence of God. Now you will ask him, what is your epistemological justification for the existence of God? I mean, what is your criteria? So he
mhm.
will tell you whether my criteria is science or my criteria is philosophy. Then you will go deep. You will tell him that why you need philosophical justification for the existence of God. So he will tell you because I need philosophical justification because I can't believe
Okay,
it to
okay,
be
brother,
self-evident. It can't because I can't
okay,
believe it to be
brother,
self-evident.
I'm sorry. I actually am. I'm talking you from one of my experiences. Okay, this actually had happened to me once in
Mm-hmm.
time. That
Mm-hmm.
I was actually talking with an atheist. Now that atheist, he knew about Islam.
Mm-hmm.
When I actually said to him, he obviously he rejected the viewpoint that God, or belief in God or belief in
Mm-hmm.
Allah is foundational
Mm-hmm.
belief or spiritual belief.
Mm-hmm.
He rejected that. Then I moved to the justification side. I said, okay, let's say for the sake of argument, I'm going to give you argument for God. What
Mm-hmm.
kind of argument or what kind of justification would we agree or would we accept,
Mm-hmm.
for the existence
Mm-hmm.
of God?
Mm-hmm.
Now he said to me a different thing that I actually didn't heard, back then. He said to me that I don't know. And let me give you why he
Okay.
said that. He said
Mm-hmm.
that I don't know. Because he then questioned me on this matter that okay, let's say for the sake of argument, if someone were to claim astrological arguments, there are some people that are Hindus who claims astrology, claims that
Mm-hmm.
if the stars move in this direction or in that
Mm-hmm.
direction, if the star is in this,
Mm-hmm.
constellation, then some XYZ will happen to you. Now,
Sahi.
obviously, at face value, you know that those things are false. Now,
Mm-hmm.
the astrologer, in the same way, can ask you the same question. Okay, what would make you believe in astrology? Then
Mm-hmm.
I actually cannot say that to the astrologer. What can make me believe in astrology? Because there will not be any sufficient way to believe
Mm-hmm.
to my belief in astrology. Same thing goes for
No, no,
other
no.
historical
Why there is not?
methods.
No, why have you agreed to this premise that there is no sufficient way to know about astrology will be true or
No,
false?
the problem is astrology makes claim about some things you say
Mm-hmm.
that actually doesn't go with the. You have to actually switch the whole point of view. Then you cannot actually accept astrology and accept the science on the other hand in that scenarios.
You're not getting my point here. If any atheist has told you that there is no way to falsify astrology because this is his position, as far as I have understood, that he makes the claim that there is no way to falsify astrology because he believes that it's unfalsifiable. But this is wrong claim. This is not right claim because you can falsify astrology. For example, if I go to an astrologer, I will tell him what will happen after 5 days. He will not be able to tell. This is end. This is itself the falsification of the idea. So why he thinks this is unfalsifiable? Why it is
No, no,
falsifiable?
he doesn't think that. He says that he doesn't know in these scenarios. Now, and also he also gave me another
Then
example.
he's
Like,
an
like
ignorant.
no, no, he also gave me another example. He said because we as a Muslim reject other gods. He said that you know,
Uh-huh.
like obviously it happened in history back then. It happened in way past that there was a monkey god by the name Hanuman who
Mm-hmm.
actually flew and ate
Mm-hmm.
the sun, and
Mm-hmm.
obviously somehow somehow it came back by its own or whatever. I don't know the other story.
Mm-hmm.
He told me that, do you believe that story? I said, no, I don't believe that story. And
Mm-hmm.
he said, okay, what is your uh, justification for not believing it? I said, there is no
Mm-hmm.
evidence for the story. Then he asked me the same question.
So
What would
are
you,
you? No, no, no.
what
Stop,
would,
stop here. Why are
yeah,
you
yeah.
taking these things for granted? Why are you moving forward very quick? Because
No, no.
we have to pause. We
The
have to think
reason
about
was,
this.
No, no,
because
I know that
when
because I was
when
also
he
asking
asked
the
you,
same thing to him. Because I was
when he
saying that what do you make you believe in God? So he's in order to make me clear. I said okay. Then you actually reject when he said that I don't know how to be how to prove that there is God. He said
mm-hmm,
that meaning the atheist. He's when he
mm-hmm,
said that thing, he
mm-hmm.
actually said that I don't know how to prove God. Then I said okay, you have already assumed your position because you have not left any way to
No,
prove that
no,
there is a God.
stop, stop,
This was my objection to him.
stop.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
When someone says that he doesn't know the way to disprove God, okay,
Mhm.
but does he deny God?
No, he doesn't deny God.
So he's an agnostic then. How can you say he's an atheist?
No, I am not talking about atheist and agnostic. I'm talking about his belief in God and his proof for the God.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not, what should I say, stick to the labels. I'm saying that
So
his
you're talking
belief
here
in God.
generally.
Yeah, I'm talking about generally about the justification. Though he was an
Mm-hmm.
atheist, his belief was a little bit, his definition of the atheist was a little bit different. But
Mm-hmm.
his evidential criteria when I said, okay, what evidence would make you, believe that there is a God or would make you
Mm-hmm.
certain that there is a God? He said he doesn't know. Then I said, okay,
Mm-hmm.
then that's pretty much, what should I
Mm-hmm.
say, is cutting every roots to God. Even if I showed you, even if God, let's say God appears before you, you would have rejected him, claiming that it was a hallucination.
Mm-hmm.
I was saying that he would have claimed that such thing. And then he actually asked me this kind of question. He said that this kind of questions in some cases are nonsensical. He gave me some historical things that are
Mm-hmm.
obviously not in in a scientific rigorous way, not provable. Not every you cannot prove those things. He
No,
told me that
actually,
okay, yeah, yeah.
these people pretend to be something they are not. In the
Hmm,
world, if you meet any skeptic or any agnostic,
hmm.
and if you take away his money, he will go to the police station. He will not say that this is an illusion or you are, I'm not in reality. This is all bullshit. These people, you know, try to be someone, they are act as someone that they are not in reality. Tell him if you are skeptic, the skeptics, the worst skeptics of this world, tell them to stand in front of truck. They will not stand. This is all drama created to, confuse the masses or confuse the believers.
I mean, obviously we know these things that they are actually denying God for their desire. They desire
No,
something
no, I
that
can't claim
which
this that this is their
no,
desire or whatever.
I,
Whatever the
I
reason, the
know,
reasons can be
but
multiple.
okay, okay, let's not make this universal, but this is actually true for many atheists. I've seen, this is, I'm talking from personal experience, also from seeing many other atheists in YouTube. Especially when you see when they make arguments against the Pascal's wager, they say being at peace actually splits you in this life a lot. So you can actually presuppose that okay, yeah, there in many cases the atheists actually try to be free, try to be as free as possible, doing as what should I say, lewd act as possible. And you'll see this true of many atheists also, that they in many cases live what should I say, believe in God for many desires that they
This is
wanted to be
actually we are
desired, which are
getting
not.
we're going off topic here, Fardin Bhai, because we are actually discussing the the monkey god thing first.
Yeah, but yeah, obviously we have
And this
deviated
is
from the topic.
actually when someone says that why don't believe this story. I mean, who will believe this story that there is a monkey god, then he eats the sun? I mean, who will believe it? I mean, why they are
No,
making a false analogy between Islam and these kind of stories? This is simply a false analogy. This is nonsense, pure nonsense.
but brother, that's the problem. When I was talking to the atheist, he was saying that you are begging the question. I said, do you how can you believe in a monkey god? I mean, like, how can a monkey be a god?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he said that. That obviously, the Hindus they don't believe that Hanuman is the ultimate god. They believe that they are some demigods. So
Mm-hmm.
obviously, those demigods were given powers by the ultimate god. So
Mm-hmm.
he said that okay, it is not impossible for there to be a monkey god. It
Mm-hmm.
is actually possible for there to be a monkey god. Now he says to me, according
No,
to your
why it
criteria, I
is
mean, according
possible?
to my
No, no,
criteria.
no. Stop here. Why you take? What was the response to his claim?
No, no.
Like when he
The, the,
make this
the
claim?
thing is that It's possible in the sense that it's logically possible. It doesn't contradict any other. It doesn't contradict itself. It doesn't contradict the laws of logic. That's how
No,
it
I
is
don't
logically possible.
think it's even logically possible. I don't agree with
Okay.
this that this is even logically possible.
And then how would you prove that it is impossible?
Because, for example, the sun is very big, a heavenly body, and the mouth of monkey is very small. And how can a monkey go out there with the body of a monkey and he will not burn when he goes near to the sun? There are various logical arguments against it.
No, no, that
And why
still
he would
doesn't.
aid the sun at the first place?
No, no, that's I don't know why would he do that. But the thing is that he was the monkey in the question is not just a normal monkey. It's actually a huge monkey.
Well,
It
how
can
much huge
change
it
its
is?
size. But
I
I
mean,
don't know the size. Obviously, I haven't. Look, I'm not
Hanuman
claiming
was
the
living on
monkey.
the earth. Hanuman was living on the earth, so it is smaller than earth. We all
No,
know that he is
I
smaller.
get it. But they believe that their gods, the demigods, can transform size, so they can get bigger, they can get smaller.
Okay, okay.
So, I mean, I have heard from Hanuman stories. So the Hanuman went there and
What
he
does they mean by
literally.
demigod? You have to ask him, this atheist, what does he mean by demigod? What is the role of demigod? What is the properties of demigod? What
No,
it
no,
has connection with the real
atheist
god?
actually doesn't believe in those gods. The atheist
No,
was
I'm not
giving me a
saying that he
counter
is
argument.
believing. I
Yeah,
mean, when
yeah.
he is making a claim that this is logically possible, so you have to ask him,
Hmm.
if it is logically possible, then how you have come to this conclusion that this is logically possible? What is a demigod in relation to
No,
God? What is the role of demigod? What
that
are his
look,
properties?
demigods. You can say that they are made gods, or they are given what should I say, god-like power. Obviously, they are not omnipotent, omniscient.
Mm-hmm.
They are restricted in
Mm-hmm.
those sense. Their powers, their knowledge are limited in the sense, but
Mm-hmm.
they are extremely powerful. They are still
Mm-hmm.
extremely powerful. You
Mm-hmm.
can think of them like having the power of a galaxy, having the energy or power of a galaxy.
I
So
understood
if
your
you,
point, but
yeah,
what they
so
are
in that
called demigods? I mean, why? What
demigods
is
in
the
the sense
relation?
that they're lesser than those ultimate gods. They are
Mm-hmm.
not gods, but they're created by that
Mm-hmm.
big or giant god.
Mm-hmm.
So in that sense, demigod are basically creation with supernatural powers. That's
Mm-hmm.
exactly what I would say. So he said, okay,
No,
now
why?
how
No,
can
no.
yeah.
Stop here. Stop here. Now, when they say that there are God, there is one supreme God, and there are many demigods.
Hmm.
Now, what is the role of the demigod? I mean, the God is there. God is only one, according to them. Also, it is supreme. What is the role of demigods? I mean, why
Uh,
it will transfer its power to a demigod? Why don't
but
we call it
look,
creation? Like in Islam, we say there is farishta, there is angel.
okay,
They have power.
that's
We call them angel. We don't call them demigods. Why they call them demigods?
but
Is there?
these are different questions. He's just giving me a scenario where a
No, no. I will
demigod.
not accept this scenario. That's the thing, now. I will not accept, his assumptions that are baseless. This is the whole matter. If you assume something, you need justification for it. How can I
Look,
accept his premise
okay,
without any justification?
he may that's the problem. He also, meaning the atheist or people of other religion, can dismiss any claims within Islam like this way. He may say, I won't accept the justification at face value.
No, for example, let me tell you, we say that angel of death has the duty of taking the lives of people. ठीक? But we
Yeah,
say
any atheist and
he's in
any
creation of
other people,
God.
any other religious people can actually laugh at this claim.
Please,
Can say,
please, please listen to me first. When I say that angel of death is an angel, he's a creation of God. We mean that God, he's dependent upon God. He's creation. He's not God. You know, he's distinct from God. God is separate from the creation. We believe it. This is our akida. This is our belief. We don't believe that God. We don't have pantheistic beliefs like Hindus or Christians, like they believe in Trinity. We have the belief that God is separate from creation, and every creation is dependent upon God, and God is the only creator. And we believe that God is self-sufficient. He doesn't need anyone. He's not dependent upon other than himself, other than his essence and attributes on anything else. Now, when you say that there is a concept of demigod in Hinduism, I want to, understand it. Because if God has created Hanuman according to them, now what is this Hanuman? We can create this creation of God. If they say this is creation of God, it's dependent upon God, then we are okay with it. We don't have any problem with it. Now, when they say that this is not creation of God, this is something called demigod. Now, I will question it. I will say, why are you saying a demigod if you say that source of power is one? Why are you making someone, a partner of God? What is the reason behind it? Because this is illogical.
No, no. Okay. Let me clarify what. Let me clarify their position. Let me try to formulate their position. Okay. In order for something to be logical or illogical, it has to follow the laws of logic, which are three laws: the law of identity, the law of
Mm-hmm.
non-contradiction, the law of excluded middle. If someone claims something, some X or
Mm-hmm.
Y proposition is illogical or logical,
Mm-hmm.
they have to show that it actually contradicts this laws, these three laws.
Mm-hmm.
Now the Hindus can claim, okay,
Mm-hmm.
you may define the gods as creation of God. That doesn't really matter. Let's assume your position that they are creation of gods because they actually think that those gods were created or they begin to exist at some time. They actually believe that the Hanuman actually began to exist at some point. So
So
now,
you don't believe that these are contradicting the laws of logic? This concept, you
no, this
say
doesn't.
that this is okay. It is okay with laws of logic.
Okay, yeah, I think this is coherent with the laws of
No,
logic
no, this
because
is
there
not
is no.
coherent. How this is coherent? Either Hanuman is God, either he is not. How can he be
Okay,
God and not God
okay,
at the same time?
okay. I have said that let's assume that he's a creation. Okay, let's
Okay,
assume
he
he's a
said not. Then
creation.
then I have no point. Okay, move forward. God can create
Okay,
any creation.
let's assume he's a creation given
Hmm.
huge power by God, humongous power by God, huh? And
Yes,
he's
yes, we can agree
he's
to it.
given he's given very free will or free choice to do as he wills. Now,
Mm-hmm.
Hanuman has obviously given humongous power by God, and he also has many deep knowledge of the reality. He can
Mm-hmm.
transform his shape. He can do a lot of things. He can do that bending and then a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
And he is not bounded by the laws of nature because, as God, who has also created the nature,
Okay, okay,
created
okay,
his
okay. Come
laws,
on, move forward.
yeah. So now, the Hanuman is given huge power. Now,
Mm-hmm.
Hanuman, according to the story, somehow flew to the sun and ate the sun, and
Mm-hmm.
somehow I don't know the latter part of the story. He actually
Mm-hmm.
restored it
Mm-hmm.
somehow maybe, and obviously that power was given by the god, but the
Mm-hmm.
main god I'm saying. So
Mm-hmm.
now the atheist was saying to me, "Would you
Mm-hmm.
believe in the story?" I would obviously say, "No, I don't believe in the story." I was saying, "No, I wouldn't believe the story because there's no justification
No,
for the story."
if listen here. If atheist says that Hanuman is the creation of God, then this doesn't remain Hinduism then, because Hindus will object to it because they say
No,
that
no,
this is some kind of
brother,
demigod.
these are
But if they
different
agree that this is
questions.
demigod, then it contradicts the
Look,
logic.
even the gods, like gods, you are assuming there are different definitions of God. You know that, right? There is not just one definition of God. There are definition of the ultimate God and there are definition of the small God. So they can
But
also
I
agree
don't
that there
agree
is.
that there is something called small god. I don't agree to this concept
You may disagree. There is no problem with that. I am talking about
because
from a
it's
very
illogical to believe such thing.
okay.
It's
Then you
against
have to
logic.
actually no. Then you have to actually prove that. That's the point.
Because I
Sorry.
have told you what I'm doing from last 10 or 15 minutes. I'm saying you that if you are saying that Hanuman is demigod, and at
Mhm.
the same time you are saying that it is not God, so how can be something be God and not
No,
God
no,
at
no,
the same
no.
time?
They don't say that. They said there are different definitions. There is a definition for the ultimate God, and there is a
Mhm.
definition for the small God.
Then the question
But
comes, what is this
when
his relation to the God, which I have
that's a
mentioned you
different question,
earlier?
his relation to the God. You're assuming that somehow
No, no,
being a
this is all
creation.
illogical. Sorry, Fardin bhai, I can't go forward with this. This is all illogical. I don't agree with the atheist, the so-called atheist you are assuming here. I think I will not go with these assumptions because all the assumptions are wrong. When your assumptions are wrong, your whole building will be
No, I agree with
built.
you. If you have a premise which builds upon assumptions that are false or wrong, it will go to wrong conclusion.
This is
I don't
false.
doubt that. Yeah, I know, but the problem is that how can we actually then yeah, what should I say? give evidence to the atheists that okay, there is a God in that sense.
I have already told you that there are epistemological foundations of Islam. We have to discuss. We have to discuss the reason. We have to also discuss about revelation. We have to discuss also about fitra. We can't just go with we can use philosophy, but not in the sense the traditional philosophers has used it. We have to use rational arguments, like we have to tell him what reason is, how we can deny Hanuman with reason, how Hanuman is illogical with reason, like we have discussed it here from last few minutes. Because reason doesn't agree to this, because I shown you in this fatwa that he is saying that prophets doesn't bring something which contradicts reason. Prophets bring something that transcends reason, not something that contradicts. Hinduism contradicts reason. Trinity contradicts reason. And it's a blatant contradiction.
No, I agree. Look, I agree with your sentiment, but the problem is here is that when you argue with an atheist, he actually, obviously he will not take. It can be justified for him, and it is justified for me, but he will not take this at face value. When arguing with him, you'll obviously say, "No, I will not. I will not take your blank claims." You will say that I can say the contrary and give you no evidence, which you will obviously ask that
Look,
atheism is
Fardin
a
Bhai,
very
look,
foundational point of
look,
view.
look, Fardin Bhai. We can argue for a whole day. We can argue for years. We can argue for months. It's up to you how much you want to argue. But the point I'm trying to make is that if any atheist comes to you, then he and we have to discuss our epistemological foundations first. We can't go outside foundations, because we have to see on which thing we are building our beliefs. And it is building upon foundations. When an atheist comes to you, he will definitely give you some criteria, because all atheists are not mad or all atheists are not illogical. There are various logical atheists out there which will understand understand what logic is, what reasoning is. We will simply tell them that why you are atheist. Please give me epistemological foundations for your belief, and he will ask the same question to us. We will also give him what else we can do. And if any atheist comes with, he will come like Rene Descartes. He will doubt his existence. That how can we argue with such a person? Because he needs mental care. Then he doesn't need first of all to discuss with the dai. He needs first doctor. Are you getting my point?
Now, look, I agree with your point. But it's not me who is disagreeing with your point. The problem I have, like when talking with an atheist, the problem becomes it is you and me. It becomes like it is you and me. It's like saying, okay, it's your point of view, but that doesn't necessarily make it right or true. It is that's the problem.
Look, for
Like
example, Fardin Bhai, you
when
will ask me why you believe 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. Now, if you ask this question to non-Muslim and Muslim, they will give you same answer.
yeah,
There will
obviously,
be
obviously, yeah.
similarly, if you ask an atheist why you believe in atheism or why you lack belief in God, he will give you some epistemological foundation for it, that why he does so. If he is not giving you, then he is a dogmatic person. Then leave him. If he gives you epistemological foundation, then you can discuss his epistemological foundations. The point I am making is this: if he doesn't give epistemological foundation, then he is dogmatic, or he has lose his reasoning capability. He's a stupid person then. Then leave him.
But okay, now I have seen some atheists also claims like this. Like I think we are not going further with our the discussion that we are having about the, the epistemological foundation. But there are also some other atheists who says that you need to justify pretty much everything in your religion. They admit that you can have justification for the religion. You can have
Mm-hmm.
arguments for the miracles, and some of the miracles are obviously true. They have
Mm-hmm.
came true again and again
Mm-hmm.
historically. Then they
Mm-hmm.
claim that okay, it is probably. what should I say? It is probably believable or justified for many people to believe in this claim. And it may
Mm-hmm.
truly, it can, some experts agree, I've seen, talked to some of them that, yeah, it may also be credibly true. But the problem is that they say that, but that doesn't let you assert or that doesn't justify you believing everything in the religion. It may truly be the case that there's something in the religion that is true, or something that is not true. Then they argue that you have to actually justify everything in the religion, everything, pretty much everything it claims. And how do you respond to those people?
These questions have already been addressed centuries ago when some people said that there are some things in Revelation which contradict reason. And the
No, no, they are
answer
not
was
talking
that,
about contradictions. They are talking about possible things, like they're actually possible, but
uh
they are not susceptible to any proof at this moment.
so you have to look at the foundation. What you, for example, if you believe that Quran is from God, you believe in Allah, you believe Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is the true messenger of God, then there are many things which come which come from him, and if they are trustworthy narrators there, then you have to trust it because you believe that he is the messenger of God. And there is faith, there is amount of which theist is saying that there is no faith in religion, that there is everything is provable by any theorem. Who is saying that? Who is making this claim? No theist is making this claim because as far as I know of Muslims, we have iman bil ghaib. We believe in God, we believe in his messengers, we believe in angels, we believe in day of judgment, we believe in his books. But there are some epistemological foundations why we believe in them, why we believe that Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is the true messenger of God, why we believe that Islam is the true religion. There are some basic foundations to it. Then, if you say that I have to justify everything, then many things can be justified, but many things require a whole life to be justified. So I don't think this is a correct way to present the case of theists here because as far as Muslims are concerned, they say that we have iman bil ghaib. They are not saying that we are proving everything by reason or we are going to prove everything under a telescope or microscope. There are amount of faith to it, and I have already shown you that there are various things that you cannot know through logic or reason. For example, you can't know that throne exists of God through logic or reason. You have to believe it. You have to believe it through revelation. This is revelation telling you. Day of judgment can't be proven through mathematics. Maybe it can be proven through physically that this, some people say that world would end like this. This theorem tells us this. This tell, but you can't, tell every specific thing. You can't prove it that this will happen. This will happen. There is amount of faith to it. And who is denying that we don't have faith? Then it is called iman. Iman means that you have faith. You have belief in it. But this is not a belief which atheists tell to the people that they have. Like they say that this is blind belief. Then you have to ask them what do they mean by blind belief. This is not blind in that sense in which they think. This
Right.
is
Here, how
justified.
they qualify blind is that you may have justification for some of your beliefs, like you may have justification that that he is a true messenger, like okay, he has given you some
Mm-hmm.
miracles, and that
Mm-hmm.
miracles are proven to be true.
Uh-huh.
That proves that he's a messenger, but that doesn't necessarily prove that what he is telling, everything he's telling, is true. He may have
Uh-huh.
he may have many truth values that comes from his mouth, but that doesn't necessarily follow that everything he says will be true. He may be mistaken in somewhere. He may be, you know, let's say some of them claims, obviously I don't believe that he may be also lying in some. So how would you know? So that's why they say in everything that he claims, you need some justification for it.
There are, I think, they are stupid people because I will tell you why. Because this comes the question to God's divinity now. This is the question about God's divinity then. Because if he's bringing any messenger, if God is sending any messenger, and sometimes he's lying, and sometimes he's saying truth, then the question comes that if messenger can lie and God doesn't do anything to him, then this is the question. That's raises the question about God's divinity. Then
I mean, then would you say that this is like, the, like, let's say the truthfulness of God is like, is some of his quality, or is his attribute, and God is a truthful being. He doesn't lie.
this comes under God's divinity. For example, a group of philosophers believe that the false prophets can also show miracles. They can also
Hmm.
perform true miracles. But this has been refuted by Ahl Sunnah scholars because they say if a false prophet can do miracles, then this will open the doors of deviancy to both the world and the hereafter. It will ruin both world and hereafter of the. That's why in Quran, Surah Haqqa, Allah has told that if you fabricate a lie against us, we will have cut your altar. He has, this is because God is warning the messengers that if you have fabricated something against me, I will have cut down your. I will have killed you. Because God, in this through this verse, we come to know that God doesn't support the false prophets, and this is also against God's divinity. Because if you think logically, that why would God send you a messenger and He will give him true miracles, and you can't differentiate between the false prophet and true prophet. This raises the question on the divinity of God.
I mean, the way I responded to him is that, some things that we have to believe, we have to take at face value. Like, even if I say that this was, part of God's divinity, or God would, cut his, like, aorta or something. That is, I don't know quite exactly what is said in the verse, but he can always counter argue, because he can always show that there are possibilities. That's why I said to him, like, there are something that you have to take in face value. You cannot, have rational justification for everything. You may have justification for something which are foundational part of the religion, but that doesn't necessarily mean that now you have to have justification for every, sort of things that are said or laid down in the book.
I think no serious person raises, even serious atheists don't raise this kind of stupid questions. They just keep discussing the foundational issues. They don't discuss these type of questions that God exists and even messenger is true, but sometimes he lies. This is pure nonsense. You have to discuss the
Mhm.
foundational issue, whether God exists or not. You have to discuss the epistemological foundations for it. Don't have to discuss these things that now I believe in God, now I also believe in messenger, and now I think that he's not always speaking the truth. Then I mean, nobody, no serious person will admit this, even if he is an atheist.
No, the one that was saying this kind of stuff was actually, a great follower. Like, I would say, I would say a blind follower of David Hume. He actually, I think, I don't know, I haven't actually read David Hume that extensively, but yeah, I think he was dependent up. He was actually making his arguments from David Hume. David Hume, in some of his book, actually maybe said this kind of things.
It doesn't matter what he says. These are all waswasa of shaitan, whispers of devil.
Yeah, obviously.
No sound-minded person will take these things seriously. Only ignoramuses will admit these arguments. Because some people have argued in history that can God support the messenger, false messengers also. So this has been rejected by Ahl Sunnah scholars. That's why Jabriya are, uh, you know, rejected for this. Because Jabriya believe entails this because they believe that God has no wisdom in his actions. So if God has no wisdom in actions, then he can also support the false prophets also. So that's why Ahl Sunnah rejects this very dangerous idea of Asharis and Jabriya, that God acts without wisdom.
Hmm. I mean, that I think that was also, that that was the point from where this kind of discourses actually arised. Like, God could have lied, or that he could have actually even made some of the messengers be deceived, or his may he may also let some of his messenger, lie, or be, let's say, be fall in misguidance maybe. That's
This is
where
all
actually I
this
think.
it's all foundation is in wisdom, whether you believe God is wise or not, and why they believe that God doesn't act to wise purpose. What is the reason they don't believe? Some Ahle Kalam don't believe because they said that if God acts according to a wise purpose, then purpose is something which is achieved by causes. So it needs, so it's an external thing then
Hmm.
for which God is, you know, working. And there are various arguments. I don't remember the arguments to be exact. I have book here in front of me, but this is very, I had already discussed in why God creates in my video. You can watch it in my live streams. Why God creates. I
Hmm.
discussed this topic there. These issues.
Okay. No, like, yeah, I was actually, talking with the atheists. I was actually facing some of these problems. Though I don't think these are actually great problems as such, but still,
Because
it'll still be better
you
for,
know actually
yeah.
some people, like for example, some you know sensible persons will give you some arguments, like they will give you the argument. you know I'm not saying that they are the good arguments, but no sensible, even atheist will give you that kind of argument. Who is sensible, who is a serious person? These are given by mentally weak persons who are some sort of psychological problem, that now what will happen if messenger will lie, these kind of things. This is all psychological. This is
I
psychological
mean,
problem. This is,
like, he's a staunch atheist. He's actually, extremely staunch atheist. He
but
actually claimed that he will,
his
whatever evidence you bring, he will never believe in God, Allah or God or Islam. He will never believe. He claims like that.
look, for example, if you ask Lawrence Cross why are you an atheist, or if you ask Richard Dawkins, he will give you Darwin's theory, neo-Darwinism. He will not give you these kind of reasons.
Hmm.
These kind of reasons are given by people who are mentally ill, who are very much ill mentally.
Hmm.
They are skeptics, so-called skeptics. The serious academics will give you other arguments, like they will give you neo-Darwinism.
Hmm.
They will not give you these kind of arguments, like these silly arguments which have no basis.
Yeah.
This is all mental gymnastics. That's why Salaf has, prohibited philosophy due to these mental gymnastics, because it brings more harm than good. And what any person thinks, it doesn't matter what any person thinks or what he thinks that exists out there. What matters is what really is out there.
No, yeah, obviously.
That's why various people have, gone into empiricism rather than rationalism, because too much rationalism leads you to various blunders also. I mean, how can you talk about God without knowledge? And God has also prohibited this in his book. Why are you talking about me without knowledge? According to Islam, humans have potency to recognize the truth of Islam. Humans have the natural constitution, which is called the fitra, in which they are born. They recognize God in their heart, and signs point out to God, the signs they see in the world. And according to Islam, humans see the signs of God, and they already know the God in heart, and signs point out to Him, and they recognize these signs are of Him, and in this way their iman, their faith increases, as mentioned in the Quran. And God has give us reason. God has make us on fitra, you know, and God is praiseworthy. These are our basic beliefs. We don't say that we have to first of all read this theory or that theory, then we have to prove him deductively, then we will prove general existence deductively, and then we will go into these philosophical discussions. What happens if messenger lies something and he spoke something truth? These are all nonsense, pure nonsense. And everybody knows in their fitra that this is nonsense. Like Firaun knows the existence of God in his heart, as mentioned in the Quran.
I was actually thinking about an argument from miracles for actually the truthfulness of Islam. You know, I was thinking, the argument could be formulated in this way that
Nobody
all the
can know whether these
mm,
miracles had happened or not. We cannot prove these miracles had really happened. One will deny them with other narrations also. What will you do?
no, no, no. There are some miracles that claims of the future, like the what should I say?
Mm-hmm.
Like the hadith that says, that you will have, in the desert areas, tall buildings that will reach the skies.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
barefoot Arab who is to, what should I say, flog the goats, they will
Mm-hmm.
compete in building tall buildings, like that hadith. You know?
Mm-hmm.
That hadith is directly verifiable,
They are
The hadith
they are
actually
prophecies. They
actually
are
ex-
not called miracles. They are prophecies.
okay. Let's take them as prophecies. Let's
Mm-hmm.
take those and the thing that I was saying that you can actually collect those claims.
Mm-hmm.
Let's generally call them miracles because like
Mm-hmm.
prophecies are also kind of miracles. They're prediction that cannot be in anyhow that cannot be anyhow grounded in some probability.
No, you can call them prophecy. Don't now get into too much grammar. Then we would have to discuss it more further than 10 or 20 minutes, and this will be vain talking.
Okay.
Call it prophecy because miracle is, when the nature's law is, not in pattern. The patterns are broken. We can call it
Mhm.
miracle.
Okay, let's call them prophecies. Okay, let's say if you take all of the prophecies in Islam, and on the
But
other
in the
hand,
Shari'i
you
sense, you can say, in the Shari'i sense, some people say that this is, they say this is Karamat Awliya, or, yeah, you can say it, this is a sort of miracle, but okay, I don't have any disagreement over it also.
okay, well, I mean,
Let's
you
not
can
fight
take
over terms.
okay, okay, no problem. Let's say let's agree on the general term that it can also be called prophecy, also be called miracles. Okay, but let's say for the sake of argument, let's call it miracles. You have all the you collect all those kind of claims that are claims about future and has already came true, and some also are going to are going to come true in the future. Let's take that on side of the scale, and let's take all the other religious claims, all other
Mm-hmm,
religious claims out there.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Let's like take Hinduism and their prophecies, Christianity and their prophecies, you know,
uh-huh,
uh, Judaism and their prophecies, and some of the other religions that exist out there and the prophecies. I was
mm-hmm,
thinking that, and I had seen some of their prophecies which have obviously failed. Many of them failed. We'll actually weigh those prophecies, that the prophecies made by those other religions and the prophecy on the other hand made by Islam.
mm-hmm,
And I was thinking that okay, there are many prophecies in Islam, and it will obviously outweigh those prophecies. So we can make an argument that Islam is in this sense more justified. You are more justified in believing in Islam, and Islam is more justified to be true than those other
mm-hmm,
religions. And you also attach some conditions, negative conditions also. That religion cannot be contradictory. So like Christianity and some other. are already, outside of the
But this is
equations.
not the basic thing. I will take this as a basic argument. I will not even take this as a basic argument. Although this is Dalail Nubuwa. Imam Bayhaqi has written a book about like this in which he has told about prophecies of Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. Ibn Taymiyyah has mentioned that Prophet has prophesied that Tatars will kill the Muslims. They have
Mm.
he has mentioned the features of Mongols uh, in the past and in the future. This prophecy has also come true. This is also Dalail. I'm not saying that this is not Dalail for Nubuwa. These are not Dalail of prophethood. But even if you do worst kind of skepticism, I think the thing you remained with at the end of the day is your fitra and is Tawheed.
No, that's not. Look, that's not the thing that we are entertaining here. If if some people are skeptics, let's say, I've read on this topic, there are about four kinds of skeptics. There are four forms of skepticism. And
Uh-huh.
at a time, I used to think that no, you cannot actually refute a skeptical arguments. But then I actually thought about it and read some papers. No, you can actually refute them. You can refute many of the skeptics. There are actually many hard refutation of the skepticism that, that the skeptics can even, respond back.
Skeptics refute themselves, so why we need to refute them? They are
And yeah, obviously,
self-evident.
that's also a point. The hard skeptics actually refute themselves. When they say we cannot be certain on anything, that the problem, goes back to are you certain on the laws of logic? Because that's the foundation of our thoughts. If they are not certain about those things, then obviously they can never have their thoughts, they can never have any coherent thoughts. They can never claim any truth claims. The problem actually, what should I say, falls on under this problem, falls under these, three laws, that they certain these laws or not. So obviously the hard skeptics are self-refuting. There's no problem with that. But that's why I was saying that, there are some people who, if you give them evidence, they will actually accept them. That's why I was trying to make this kind of an argument that okay, you have Islam and its
It depends
prophecies on the
upon
one hand.
what kind of evidence will evidence can be for one person. Evidence could is people differ in their mental faculties as well as their physical faculties. People differ more in mental faculties than physical faculties. Even something which is self-evident for anyone needs demonstration for someone, and this has been discussed about logicians, these things, because everyone's intellect is not same, or everyone is not convinced by same thing.
No, no, we are not talking about subjectivity. We're talking about objectivity because the
No, no,
prophecy.
I'm getting your
Most,
point that you are saying that I will use the prophecies argument, and maybe someone who used skepticism, he will say, who knows that this was transmitted from prophet? Maybe somebody
no, no, no. Look,
fabricated it 200 or 300
we are
years
not,
ago.
we are deducting from our, we are subtracting from our equation the skeptics. We will deal with the skeptics in a different way. We'll obviously, as far
No, we
as I
don't have to
said
deal with
earlier.
skeptics. I mean, who takes skeptics seriously?
I
Nobody
mean,
takes them
okay,
seriously.
look, yeah, I can also agree with you. Like, I don't necessarily, entertain skeptics. Let's say if a skeptic, there was a guy I knew, you know, he was with me in school, so he had turned into a skeptic. So when he came to discuss with me regarding these topics, I actually didn't actually talk about this topic in the first place. I was talking with him about his epistemological foundation, and he's certain about the foundation. Then
Hmm.
obviously he contradicted 1,000 times with himself. Thus, the discussion actually ended there. Yeah,
But somebody can say, okay, contradictions are also allowed. What can you do about it? I mean, somebody can be a worst skeptic. He will say, no,
I mean,
logical
okay,
contradiction
look,
can
if he
also be
says
possible.
that, let's say for the sake of argument, if he says that, then he's again self-refuting himself. He's saying that yeah, he can be true and false at the same time. That because I don't take his argument to be true, neither uh,
Hmm.
yeah, it's not my belief. I can say that okay, it's not true. It's not just true.
Hmm.
But when he claims that there can be
Hmm.
contradiction, he's claiming a thing.
But
He's
some
asserting.
people can be like this. They so we don't care about what is true, or these are all subjective concepts like
It
people
doesn't
talk
really
about.
look. If someone says that he doesn't care about, that's not a truth claim. It's a claim
Hmm.
about himself. He can feel whatever he wants.
Hmm.
He can feel whatever he wants. He can feel what amount of subjectivity he wants. It doesn't really matter.
Hmm.
I don't really care whatever he thinks. I care about
Hmm.
obviously objectivity. Yeah. But obviously when some people will claim that there are contradictions, he's actually refuting himself. Because every possibility
Mm-hmm.
obviously has to follow the laws of logic. If it contradicts the laws of logic,
Mm-hmm.
then you are not in the realm of in the realm of possibilities. You are in the realm of impossibilities at that time. So whatever claims they're making, it will be necessarily false. There is no arguing on this on this path. You know.
But to make sense out of this, we need some sensible person uh, to discuss this issue with, because if you discuss with someone who doesn't care even about logic, then how you are not going to ever convince him of anything. Because
Right.
various
Yeah.
people
Obviously.
also lean towards the position that they don't care about logic. They say, okay, we are contradicted, then what? I mean, they deny
So
logic. They're logic deniers.
so I haven't found a radical like this claims he doesn't care
So
about logic.
somebody
But
can
yeah,
go
it
go in
may
that way,
it can
because
be possible. Yeah.
so even there are mental type of mental illnesses that one suffers from, and it has been discussed also by Ibn Taymiyyah.
Mm.
Like, he sees solipsistas as mentally ill persons. So he has suggested that they should be advised, they should be have discussion with, but they should be also done ruqya should be done on them, and if they are not cured, then leave them alone, they are doomed. Because if you stay with a mad person, you will also have chance of getting mad after some time. आपको बात
Yeah.
आ रही है
Obviously.
समझ? मतलब
Ah,
पागल का
yeah.
इलाज
Obviously.
करने के चक्कर में खुद ही पागल हो गया.
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously.
ये किसी के लिए भी देखिए, ये हर किसी के लिए ज़रूरी नहीं है कि उसी तरह से. अब किसी आदमी ने ख्वाब देखा, मैं ऐसे भी केसेस जानता हूँ जिनने ख्वाब देखकर जो है वो माना है कि कुरान जो है वो अल्लाह ताला का कलाम है, क्योंकि सूरह यूसुफ है उसमें, क्योंकि ख्वाब में फ्यूचर की खबरें होती है, तो उन्हें कुछ ख्वाब देखे. आई मीन वो मानते थे गॉड को पहले से ही, तो वो कन्विंस हो गए इस्लाम पे. देयर कुड बी मल्टीपल, मतलब किसी के लिए भी कोई भी एविडेंस हो सकता है. किसी के लिए ये भी एविडेंस हो, जैसे आपने कहा कि दुबई के लोग या अरब के लोग जो है वो बद्दू जो अरब के है वो कंपटीशन करेंगे बिल्डिंग बनाने में, टॉल कोई इसी से कन्विंस हो जाएगा.
I mean, this is this is immediately demonstrated in front of our eyes, right? I mean, the text was there. This prediction was there way before.
मैं
This
यही
was
कहता हूँ ना, एंड पे ये सारा आपको पता है किस पे आता है? एंड पे ये सारा फितरत पे आता है और रीज़न पे आता है, क्योंकि गॉड ने इस तरह की से फितरत बनाई है कि यू रिकॉग्नाइज तावहीद, आप तावहीद को एक्सेप्ट करते हैं, आपको पता है कि तावहीद लॉजिकल है. मुझे लगता है तावहीद और फितरत सबसे बड़ा जो है ये एपिस्टेमोलॉजिकल फाउंडेशन है इस्लाम की, और रीज़न. मतलब आदमी वर्स्ट काइंड ऑफ स्केप्टिक भी बनेगा ना, स्केप्टिक क्या बनेगा? वो इग्नोरेंट है. जैसे किसी को इल्म हदीस की पता ही नहीं है, उसे पता ही नहीं जरा तादिल क्या है, उसे पता ही नहीं है सही हदीस क्या होती है, क्या उस बेचारे को एतमाद ही नहीं है इस पर, क्योंकि उसको इल्म ही नहीं है हदीस का. जैसे बहुत सारे मुनकरीन हदीस है, उनको पता ही नहीं हदीस साइंस का, इसलिए वो रिजेक्ट ही करते हैं.
no,
समझ आ रही है आपको?
yeah, obviously, but I think the miracles or the prophecies that are said in Islam or conveyed in Islam is actually is very strong evidence for it.
यहाँ दिस इज बिकॉज स्कॉलर्स ने किताबें लिखी है दलाइल नबुवा के नाम से. इब्न तैमिया ने लिखी है दलाइल नबुवा, उसमें यही है मिरेकल्स वगैरह. इमाम बैहकी ने लिखी है. मैं क्या कह रहा हूँ कि ये कोई आर्गूमेंट नहीं है, बट मैं कह रहा हूँ कि ये डिपेंड करता है. फिर कोई इसी से कन्विंस होगा, बहुत सारे लोग इसी से कन्विंस हो जाएंगे, कोई इससे भी वर्स्ट होगा. वो कहेगा नहीं यार, मुझे पता ही नहीं है हदीस साइंस क्या है, क्या पता किसी ने खुद ही लिख दिया हो ये देख कर. तो उसका फिर वही एंड पे जब वर्स्ट काइंड ऑफ स्केप्टिसिज्म करेगा, एंड पे वो फितरत पे ही आएगा. फितरत में ये है, क्योंकि उसको फितरत तो कह रही है गॉड है, और पॉइंट भी कर रहे हैं साइंस उसके उसी की तरफ, क्योंकि ह्यूमंस हार्ट में पहचानते हैं गॉड को, अपने दिल में पहचानते हैं. और एंड पे हिदायत देने वाला अल्टीमेटली खुदा है, वरना हर किसी को हिदायत हो गया होता दुनिया में. ये अल्लाह ताला का फजल होता है, जो जिसको भी हिदायत होती है. ये सबसे बड़ा फजल है अल्लाह ताला का. कितना भी कोई करे, मैंने ये किया वो किया, हाँ रीज़न से आप ला सकते हैं, रीज़न से आप बहुत चीज़ें कर सकते हैं। मैं कहाँ ये कह रहा हूँ कि रीज़न में कोई नहीं है। क्या रीज़न आपको मतलब मैं उस वो एक पर्टिकुलर सेट ऑफ जो फिक्स्ड जो आइडियाज़ है, जैसे वो नेसेसरी बीइंग को बैठते हैं साबित करने, तो ज़रूरी नहीं है कि ऐसे ही हो। बहुत सारी है, क्योंकि एपिस्टेमोलॉजिकल फाउंडेशन पहले पता होनी चाहिए बंदे को कि वो किन एपिस्टेमोलॉजिकल फाउंडेशंस पे अपने बिलीफ्स को बेस कर रहा है। और उसको पता ही नहीं है तो वो क्या करेगा? फिर तो वही होगा, वो मोहम्मद हिजाब की तरह बैठेगा कंटिजेंसी आर्गूमेंट डिस्कस करने पहले ही काफिरों के साथ, और एंड पे वो मानते भी नहीं है उसको। फिर क्योंकि वो उसको सही कहते हैं, वो कहते हैं आपने तो एक जनरल चीज़ साबित की, इसमें कहाँ इस्लाम का गार्ड साबित हुआ? जब आप फितरत को ही ये नहीं कर रहे हैं, फितरत को आप कह ही नहीं रहे कि एपिस्टेमोलॉजिकल फाउंडेशन है, तो वो कैसे कन्विंस होंगे? क्योंकि उनको पता ही नहीं है फितरत भी कोई सोर्स है। उनको वो बताते हैं चलो मैं तुम्हें ये दिखाऊंगा, फिलासफी से दिखाऊंगा। वो कहते हैं हाँ नेसेसरी बीइंग तो ये भी मानता है, ग्राहम हॉपी भी मानता है, वो तो एथिस्ट है। ये इब्न सीना ने ये चीज़ दिमाग में डाली है लोगों के। इब्न सीना जो था वो हेरेटिक था, कोई इस्माइली था, बातनी था, उसको दीन की पता ही नहीं थी। समझ आ रही है आपको?
Mm, I mean, yeah, obviously, I'm getting your point to some degrees, but I mean, we can also, share our points of difference, right? I think that we do share
जी,
some
मैं कहाँ
points.
कह रहा हूँ कि आप मेरे साथ किसी बात पे एग्री कीजिए, मगर मैं कहता हूँ कि आप सलफ़ की भी किताबें पढ़िए, सलफ़ का देखिए कि उनका अप्रोच, क्योंकि मेरा ये घर का तो अप्रोच नहीं है। क्योंकि पहले ही अगर आप देखेंगे ना फतावा को, तो फतावा में पहले एपिस्टेमोलॉजिकल फाउंडेशन हुई है डिस्कस, मजमू फतावा में पहले एपिस्टेमोलॉजिकल फाउंडेशन ही डिस्कस होगी ना, कि किस पे मैं अपनी बेस खड़ी कर रहा हूँ इस्लाम की, उसकी फाउंडेशन क्या है।
I mean, obviously, even Taimia, when he argues in a very, I would say, even he argues in a rational way. He doesn't actually, what should I say, sideway the rationality. But if you see, some of the earlier salafs, like Ahmad ibn Hanbal and some of his students, and Imam Malik, even Imam Shafi, they had quite a hard or harsh attitude towards kalam, or let's not just kalam, also rationality as a whole. They actually avoided arguing in a very rational way. I mean,
No, this
that's
is
another side.
misconception.
I think that's another side of the coin, and this is quite in some
This
way.
is misconception of people.
No, I've
Look,
actually read them. I've read the Usul Sunnah of Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. I've seen his
no,
book
he has
about.
written it for Muslims. He has not written it for, you know, he has written for Ahl Sunnah. That what are the
No, no,
usul of
I
Ahl Sunnah wal
know,
Jamaa.
but his second point or third point was, you cannot actually use chaos in the in Aqidah or religious matters, and he explains
Look,
that point. Like,
he has never denied qiyas and logical reasoning.
no, no, no,
Ibn
he
Ahmad ibn
has
Hanbal,
denied chaos in Aqidah, not in, yeah, fake.
I don't know about it. I can't claim. I don't have read about it, so I can't make any point.
Okay. But you'll see many of them, denouncing reason. You'll see them not using reason at all, just sticking to the book and the sunnah. I'm not saying it's bad,
No, that
but I'm
this
saying,
is our misconception. We have not, read his whole. Ahmad ibn Hanbal was the Imam of Ahl Sunnah. We can't say that. We
look,
have not
he
read
can
his
be a
work, so
look,
we
he
can't.
can be a Imam of Ahlus Sunnah. He's a Imam of Ahlus Sunnah in terms of hadith and fiqh, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's a Imam of Ahlus Sunnah in terms of aqidah.
No,
That
no,
doesn't really
he's
follow.
also Imam of Aqidah. No, this is misconception.
Oh,
He has
oh,
written
look,
Usul Sunnah is also there are various Aqidah in Usul Sunnah also, because Ahmad ibn Hanbal was the person who has executed, who the king has executed for not agreeing that Quran is the creation. He has not agreed to it.
no, no,
He's also a
I
rational
know about
person.
that point. I'm talking about his role in using reason in aqidah. That's what I'm
Huh?
talking. Like you see even Taymiyyah you see
Uh-huh.
reason and rationale. The
Your
Quran
voice is very
does
low.
not. Okay, I'm saying that. as you see, even Taimiyya argues in his book, Darud al-Aql wal-Naql, and in many of his
Mm-hmm.
books that no, the Quran doesn't contradict the reason. The Quran
Mm-hmm.
is in accordance with the reason, but there are always
Mm-hmm.
some things which transcends the reason,
Mm-hmm.
and reason cannot properly, grasp those things. We just
Mm-hmm.
have to believe in them. But when you read, Usul Sunnah, I have read Usul Sunnah, and
Mm-hmm.
even Taimiyya is actually sorry, Ahmad ibn Hanbal, is like, he doesn't even use reason. He says that okay, this is
देखो
the
अभी
Quran,
भाई जो
this is the
उसूल सुन्ना
Sunnah.
है ना, मेरी बात सुनिए. उसूल सुन्ना ट्रीटाइस है, शॉर्ट ट्रीटाइस है. You can't judge
Yeah,
a
yeah, it's
scholar
very
by
short.
a short treatise. Ahmad ibn Hanbal is a giant. Even Ibn Taymiyyah says he is my imam.
He says
We
that
can't
out of
discuss.
wisdom. Like, do you really
Uh-huh.
think even Ahmad ibn Hanbal is greater than Ibn Taymiyyah? No, he isn't. You
No,
can you
he is.
can make that point in
No,
any
no,
day.
no. Ibn Taymiyyah is saying he's greater than me.
He says it out of wisdom. Don't you think that? Don't you understand? It's very simple. Many people has claimed that he is greater than me out of wisdom, out of making some making someone like making oneself feel lower. That's why you don't want to make
No,
gulu
no,
of
no.
yourself, right?
No, no, this is wrong. You don't know the personality of Ahmad ibn Hanbal. You have to read about him first. He's one of the greatest scholars of Islam.
Look, Ibn
He
Taymiyyah
remembered more than
was
he
just showing
remembered
his
lakhs
limit.
of narrations of Prophet Islam by memory. He's a genius.
Look,
He was a
I
genius.
agree with you. He had a great memory. No one doubts that,
He
right?
has great intellect also because he is a imam. He has own school of thought. The people follow him. Humbly mazhab. He was a giant like Shafi. He was teacher of Shafi. Shafi is also a giant.
No, no, no. Imam Shafi's student was,
No, no, this is wrong
yeah.
conception.
No, no. Imam
Sorry, sorry. Yes, yes, yes. You're right. I got it wrong.
Imam Malik was the teacher of Imam
Uh huh.
Shafi. Imam Shafi
Uh
was
huh.
the teacher
Imam
of Imam.
Malik was sorry, sorry. Imam Shafi was teacher of Hanbal. Sorry, sorry.
Yeah,
You're right.
no problem. But uh, but okay. But I still think Shaykhul Islam Ibn Taymiyyah is, I think, is better. Yeah.
No, you can in some aspects you can say that he has more contributions, but I don't. I think Ahmad ibn Hanbal was one of the greatest scholars of Islam, and it's also the opinion of Sheikh al-Islam Ahmad ibn Taymiyyah, rahimahullah. He has called him in many places. He's called him Imam Ahl Sunnat. He has defended various imams, but he respects Ahmad very much.
Hmm. Yeah. Or, I mean, he
You know
was
the
a humble,
reason
so
why
yeah.
I will tell you the particular thing of Ahmad ibn Hanbal, why he is, what makes him distinct from the four imams. First of all, Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah was very much expert in analogical reasoning. His field was actually the fiqh, because various people have said that if you have to learn fiqh, then learn it from Abu Hanifa. He was master of fiqh. In the same way, we know that Imam Malik was master of hadith. He has his own
But
hadith collection.
Imam Abu
But
Hanifa,
What Shafi does, Shafi was student of both Malik, and he was student of Abu Hanifa, Imam Shaybani. So Shafi got both, uh, you know, both kind of schools he got. He know both schools very well, Hanafi school as well as Maliki school.
yeah,
So he mix
fruits
up
of
them.
both trees.
He mix up them in his book. He mixed the qiyas with. He says okay, it's okay to qiyas. It's okay to do analogical reasoning. And Ahmad ibn Hanbal was student of all these three. So imagine how much he has the upper hand in this sense. So at last he reached the conclusion that even if you have Zaif Hadith, it's better to go with Zaif Hadith rather than doing analogical reasoning. This was his ihtiyat. This was not that he's opposing analogical reasoning, but this was his ihtiyat. He is very much God fearing. He is the only scholar in that time who has opposed the ruler. when he is telling to the people that speech of God is created. He's opposing him openly on this thing. He was one of the great scholars of Sunnah. You should read about him actually.
Nah, I have read about him. I know his stories,
In
you know,
Minhaj
of,
Sunnah,
of
there is a
opposing the ruler, and
there is a
he was
discussion
getting
of
also.
God's
Was,
attributes at one point. Fardin Bhai. So Ibn Taymiyyah has mentioned Ahmad ibn Hanbal's view. Ibn Taymiyyah has mentioned Ahmad ibn Hanbal's view. What Ahmad ibn Hanbal think about this question? Because Ahmad ibn Hanbal had discussed these things in his books. चलिए इंशाल्लाह मैं भी अब चलता हूँ क्योंकि देर हो गई है और कल काम भी है और कल जुमा भी है इंशाल्लाह तो
okay,
अभी फजर भी
it's
है और
also
जुमा
very.
की भी नमाज़ पढ़नी है तो मैं इसको एंड करता हूँ और उसके बाद मैं थोड़ा बहुत आपसे 2 मिनट बात करता हूँ